TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from the fungbros. They did one on the best things about being Asian. We always talk about how Asian men are always like on the bottom of the barrel and Asian women on top of the barrel. But this one's just Asian features in general, right? And for those that are not Asian, when you guys are looking for those Asian wives, I'm sure some of these features are the features that you guys are always looking for too. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. And let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
What are actually the best things about being Asian? The internet is weighing in.
Yeah, there was a Reddit thread over the weekend that popped up, and I thought it was really important to cover this because sometimes the negative news or the controversial news is the stuff that goes viral.
Yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do like other races in other countries too. I'll look for videos of the best thing about being Nigerian and things like that.
So this one, we just wanted to focus on the good things about being Asian. By the way, we're not saying that non-Asians don't do these things. We're not saying 100 out of 100 Asians do these things. But you would say, Andrew, these behaviors are what? Commonly associated with the Asian upbringing.
Yes, definitely. It's a long list, guys. So here are things that are good about being Asian. Please hit that like button. Check out other episodes of the Hot Pot Boys.
And let us know if you do these things, agree or disagree, and also some other extra things in the comment section below. Andrew, the clean floors, whether it's carpet, hardwood floors, most Asians take off their shoes when they go in the house, right?
100% agree.
And that keeps the floors clean. I don't really understand the logic of people wearing shoes in the house. Still, 30 years into my life, doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's because, there's a thing about feet in the Western world.
It's funny. One of my best friends growing up was white, and his stepdad was Mexican, and he was a big buff Mexican, and his mom was white. And every time like us group of Asians would go to visit him, we would all just take off our shoes in the little like door area, and we just line up our shoes at the door. Every time he came home, he'd be like, why the fuck is there so many shoes at the door? He's like, oh, the Asians must be here. And it always just made us laugh.
Kind of sexual, maybe a little phallic. I don't know. Like, it's just different. I don't want people feeling so comfortable they take off their shoes in their house. You don't get to kick off your shoes. I get to kick off my shoes.
Hey, don't you take off your shoes in my house. I'm going to snap a picture and sell it on OnlyFans.
I would say that's one thing that I see a lot of second gen, Andrew, even your most like quote unquote like whitewashed or American.
This is actually true. You're right. Yeah, even the later generations that are a lot more whitewashed still take off their shoes. It's quite common.
Second gen Asians, they still take off their shoes probably 8 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody said, we just believe in more collectivism. We're not always fighting about little things like masks, getting vaxxed, or being a Karen, whether we agree with that individually or not. We're just trying to do whatever is viewed as good for society.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would say right now it feels like in America maybe there could be some more collectivist culture. I know this.
What do you mean, communism? Is that what you mean, Andrew? You trying to bring it?
I don't know. Maybe there needs to be a little bit.
I think there's pros and cons too.
I'm not into communism. That is a straight fucking no for me.
Having ego and id and all these things. And maybe, Andrew, would you agree with me? Like, America is like a land of extremes, right? I think Europe was always more individualistic, specifically Western Europe, than Asia. But it's a push and pull process. And right now, we need to pull back some of the individualism because all the mechanics that are supposed to fix the car, let's say the car is American society, the mechanics are fighting with each other instead of fixing the car.
Yeah, but I think American culture, and it is a beautiful culture, but it's also based around just like fighting back. If you don't believe it, fight back. If you don't believe in the pandemic, fight back. If you don't believe in the government, fight back. And so there's just pros and cons to everything.
Yep. Somebody said, I noticed in my Asian work group, we actually wait for other people to stop talking, and we'll even wait a few seconds after they're done talking to see if they have any extra thoughts. But when we step outside of our Asian work group into our general mainstream corporate job, man, people are just being contentious. And if you're viewed as demure and docile, it's a weak and pushover. But in the Asian group, it's not like
100%. 100%. Being quiet in your Asian group is actually pretty cool. But if you're too quiet in corporate America, you're seen as weak.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different social norms. I'm sure that Asian group is not also the most feared group in the company either. But
no,
at the same time, guys, yeah, very respectful. And then, but in the corporate world, there's always that dilemma and that balancing act of like staying confident, outspoken, speaking your mind,
running
right?
it like a military operation, or is it like a debate, or is it like a hierarchical, who knows, different cultures definitely run their corporate structures differently. Somebody said, I really like how the traditional foods are healthier, but I do agree that over time, the Americanized version of Asian foods, whether it's like China.
Big reason why my brother and sister are overweight. They grew up, but my parents got a little bit more busy because we had a gas station then, and they fed them more fast food, more American food, and didn't cook so much traditional food as growing up. When I was growing up, my mom, we ate McDonald's maybe like once every few months or something. That was like a treat for us, and mom cooked every day. So I actually never gained weight when I was younger. And my siblings also actually never gained weight when they were younger. It's when they got older and my parents moved to another city to take care of the gas station. And that just required more work hours. They just, more neglect on them food wise. So they just got them whatever food they wanted, which would be McDonald's and, fast food majority of the time.
Chinese American food or Korean fried chicken, that have been mixed with
love
American
Korean
culture,
fried chicken.
they definitely got less healthy over time.
Oh yeah, man,
It
definitely.
is
I mean,
pretty unhealthy.
traditional Asian food, man, is so good. But
Well, what is traditional Asian food, Andrew? Is that food that an 80-year-old or 90-year-old Asian of your same motherland country would eat, right?
yeah, it's going to be interesting in 50 years what we consider traditional Asian food. Is it still going to be the food that we consider traditional today, or is that going to change? Because a lot of recipes are anywhere from 50 to 300 years old, right?
Yeah, somebody said that real American food, Andrew, at least American fast food, right, which is a derivative of European food, but even more commoditized, is actually just trying to figure out the most efficient sugar, salt, dopamine delivery system.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. It's literally trying to get as much in there as possible to get you addicted. And that's it. That's the whole game.
And I guess you see that reflected in American Chinese food, right? Because like the General Tso's and the orange chicken. And
You are saying that the Americanized version of Asian food is the dopamine-ized version of traditional Asian food.
right, with perhaps more focus on being
I'll agree with
addicted
that.
to
I'll
it
agree
than
with that.
the health
Or
the
ambiance.
tradition and the stories. Somebody said, I think being Asian is really dope because we got cool combat sports and martial arts. Whether you're talking about Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Kung Fu, the Filipino stick fighting, there's so many different things.
Yeah, no, and I think that, aside from Western boxing, which is very much a Western style of boxing, everything else kind of comes from like the East in a way. I don't want to only say East Asia takes credit. Obviously, Muay Thai, there is some martial arts.
Yeah, Muay Thai is huge in Cambodia. So our best fighter, our biggest sport is Muay Thai.
From like the Middle Eastern regions and the Indian regions. But man, I would say, dude, that's why everybody loves our Kung Fu movies. That's why anybody who's at least doing a movie has to learn some type of martial arts, if not like Kung Fu.
Oh, and by the way, I definitely recommend that everybody with kids put your kids in some sort of at least Taekwondo.
100% agree. 100% agree. Boys or girls, doesn't matter. They need to learn.
It is good because, Asians, we get tested a lot in the Western society. Anyway, somebody said, Asians, I love being Asian because we don't smell as much when we sweat genetically. The sweat glands don't mix with the smell glands as much.
Not
all
all
right, guys,
Asians,
there is
but yeah,
actually
good
a New
chunk
York
of
Times article.
Asians, yeah.
Scientists in recent years have shown that many East Asians, a group that includes China's ethnic Han.
I'm part of that group. I'm actually part of the Han because I have Mongolian blood. I have a Genghis Khan genes in my genes.
Majority have a gene that lowers the likelihood of a strong human axillary odor.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have less body hair, but somebody said,
That's
except for the
100%
nostrils. I
agreeable.
don't know what's going on with the nostril hair.
Yo, my nostrils hair grows so long, and
I can't disagree. My nostril hair, I have to literally trim it every week.
it's funny because I'm not super hairy, but everywhere I do have hair, it grows super long, man.
Right.
Armpits, a little bit of my chest hair.
The
like
fly legs out
I get
the
crazy.
nose.
Dude,
Man, that is
nipple
something.
hairs.
And it's funny,
So
I don't have a
gotta
lot of
pluck
hair
them.
follicles on my chest, but the few that I do just like to grow.
Cue the Ali Wong joke about smooth dolphins. Somebody said, I really love how Asians cook veggies so differently with marinades, pickling, sesame, fish sauce, wok fried, stir fried. There's so many options.
I love pickled vegetables, but research says it causes gout and it's bad for you. But Asians have been eating it for like all their lives. I don't see too many Asians dying too early.
Versus the American way of eating vegetables.
I will say this is like indisputable, man. If you want to say you like American steak better, if you like fried chicken better, I'll live with that than the way that Asians do it. But man, vegetables, 100% indisputable fact, we do vegetables the best, man.
A lot of Asians are vegetarians. A lot. You know, because Buddhism, a lot of monks, a lot of people that go to the temple and stuff are very vegetarian. And their vegetarian dishes are delicious because they use vegetables, they use real ingredients. Just don't use animals, don't use meat, right? To make their dishes instead of this impossible crap that they've been using to try to make meat out of or whatever. No, these are just straight up vegetable dishes stir fried in a certain flavor, and it tastes delicious. And there's nothing like bad about it because it's just organic veggies.
Man. Yeah, I would say especially in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Americans were really struggling until new American cuisine came about. I do like the way the new American restaurants roast, you know, the beets and the carrots and stuff.
I'll give it to them. There's sauté.
But yeah, man, the old school way where they just put the hollandaise on the broccoli, that was crazy, or the cheddar cheese sauce. Somebody said Asians are really open to trying new foods or even new flavors of the same old classic foods. Like, you're not going to hear...
When I was younger, no. Now that I'm older, hell yeah, I try everything. Yeah, he's right.
Hear an Asian go, oh, yo, like, hey, that ain't supposed to go on a pizza. Well, pizza only supposed to be pepperoni or cheese. Like, Asians will try the ones with, like, corn on it or...
No, he's 100%. I just recently tried an elote ice cream. Did not like it. It tasted similar to an elote, and it was like a sweet corn ice cream bar with, like, tahini and stuff on top. It was an interesting flavor. Worth a try. I did not enjoy it, though.
Mayonnaise or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'll be honest though, like we were saying earlier, Asian food in general has a lot more layers and flavors to it. Like if you're talking about some Salisbury steak, I'm not saying that's a great dish, but it's also not hard to eat. It's very savory, got mashed potatoes, it's a beef patty, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that Asian flavor, they like Asian layers when it comes to the flavor profiles. They like competing flavors and doing it.
I say it all the time. Savory and sweet. Like salty and sweet combinations. I love it. I love those combinations. I think those are probably the best combinations to me.
In a medley, like whereas like sometimes, especially specifically American comfort foods, they more hit in one direction, like mac and cheese. Next up, somebody said, man, it took me a while to accept my Asian features, but now I love them because we look so different.
Classic
do.
Asian American issue. You grow up, you're like, oh, I hate my eyes. Oh, my hair is black. Why is my hair so spiky?
The only thing is for me is I was a darkie. I was the darkest person in my family. If you looked at my mom and dad, they look like these two guys. They literally look completely Chinese, white, like, you know, yellow or whatever you want to call it. And like, funny story, when I first came to the US, they didn't think I was my parents' kids. So they forced my parents to get a DNA test because they thought that they brought some random kid from Cambodia claiming it that they was their kid when, you know, it was really, I was their kid. That's how different I look from my parents. And I've always disliked my features because I didn't look like my parents. I didn't look like my family. My family looked just so much different from me. You know, I looked Filipino. My family is literally Chinese looking. So I wasn't a big fan of it. But now that I got older, I like my darkness. I like my skin tone. I like that I tan quite easily. I bronze quite easily, you know, compared to a lot of other people, you know, and my facial features and stuff. I've always been whatever about it. So,
Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And then you grow up and then maybe you are found attractive or you become more attractive or you just become,
Or you just find a market that likes how you look, right?
or you just become more secure in yourself and you're just like, you know what? It is what it is. I value these things. They are good and bad. Each feature has pros and cons. You know what's funny? David, you grew up never hating Asian features, right?
No,
but
never.
we realized that people with more Western features did get treated differently.
Right. If you're an Asian with Western features, it does seem like it's like maybe in Asia as well, it's valued more for sure.
It's not so much how I feel about it. I feel no differently about it.
Right.
no, he's 100% correct. I have a cousin His name is Duel, which means like movie star, or his nickname is Duel, which is like movie star or actor. And he happens to have very European features. He's tall and has a very long nose, or like a more sharp nose. So they literally, because he looks more European features, even though he looks Cambodian, he just has European features, they call him movie star because those are sought after features, or very, I guess sought after features would be a good term for it.
Whether someone's got a higher nose bridge than me or a lower, but I'm just like, oh, why I see that people treat them different.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's so interesting because like there's the white standard of beauty in America, which is like the cover of Cosmo magazine circa like 10 years ago. Now it's more diverse. And then there's the whitewashed Asian girl who's like the Asian girl in Tridelts, right? And then you have the enclave version, which is the Asian girl that's like ABG or glam ABG. There's so many different types of ABGs nowadays. Okay. And then there's Asians in Asia, more like a fob look. I don't know, man. It's very interesting. Somebody said, I hated looking younger when I was a teenager, but now I'm in my 30s. I like it because a lot of Asians, not all, look younger than they are.
Asians don't raisin, like black don't crack. I think our Asian genes and black genes are probably one of the best genes, aging wise. I'm 36 going on 37. Most people think I'm like 25, especially when they see me in person, and then they hear me talk and they're like, I don't think he's 25, but he looks 25. So, like my mom, she doesn't look that old. She didn't look that old when she passed. She was 54. I would say she'd still look in her 30s, like maybe 40s. My dad is 60. He looks like he could be my brother almost. He's a little bit more wrinkly than before, but like before my mom passed, he looked better. After my mom passed, he did age quite a bit, in my opinion.
No, obviously, when you're growing up and you're already young, you don't want to look. When you're 18, you hate looking 14 because you're trying to like, I'm a baby. Yeah, you're trying to become an adult. But then, as you see, and it's always that point, man, when you're 30s. An Asian and you see your other non-Asian peers your same age, and you see that they're like balding or growing like, a certain way, and they look way older than you, then you start to value how you look younger.
Oh, I do. I went out with... I took a girl to a restaurant that I like to go to with my best friend. And then she saw my best friend and she was just confused the whole time. And I was just chatting with my friend and we were eating and she had coffee. And then we went our separate ways. And then when we got in the car, she was like, why are you hanging out with like a 50, 60-year-old when you're like only 20, 30? And I was just like, what are you talking about? And he was like, your friend, why are you hanging out with such an old guy? And I was just like, he's only 1 year older than me. And she was just like, oh my God, he looks so old. And I was just like, you know what? I've never actually paid attention to it, but you're right, I guess. Like, I'm not, like he does his age. He does not look his age, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I also think it's contextual. For example, Andrew, we work in media. We know that for actors that look very babyish, they play younger characters. And actors with those very like intense features, they play in like thrillers or more like dramatic things.
Yeah. Because the light hits their nose at different angles and it makes their face look more serious.
Somebody said reverence for elders. I really think it's great that we have that, and that Asian moms will cook like 10 dishes over 5 hours or 10 hours just for like
I don't know about many other races, but I for sure know that Asians have the highest reverence for elders. Anybody that is older than me, again, I always say it, they get a certain amount of respect off the bat. Did they earn that respect? Maybe not, but they're going to get some respect off the bat. And then as they speak or whatever it is, they get more respect or they lose respect. But everybody gets a certain amount of respect. Elderly people get an extra notch to Asians. Why? Because they're older. They have experienced things. Like when I was growing up, it was my uncles have always told me this. If you're walking around and then there's like a pot in the middle of the road and then there's a gentleman like, doing things and you kick the pot, it is your fault for kicking the gentleman's pot. Right? But if it's the other way around, because he's an older gentleman. But if it's the other way around, if the gentleman is walking on the road and it's your pot in the road, then it's your fault. Because you should have moved it for the elderly gentleman to cross. And it's the opposite way around, where you should have walked around it knowing that it's the elderly gentleman's stuff. That's how Asians were taught, that elderly get the benefit of the doubt and get the leg up on almost every situation off the bat.
Preparation of the family party.
Yeah. And I will say it comes with pros
family
and
parties were
cons, because
huge.
then maybe your parents want to be more part of your life. And then
I love family parties. All my aunts, all my mom, and would all come together. They would meet in the morning, start making food together, and start cooking around noon. And everybody starts showing up, eating fried chicken, egg rolls, whatever it is. And then we have a dish that we all eat together, which would be banh hai, which is like a noodle dish.
and they can put more pressure on you because they're like, hey, like, you know, like we're going to go cook for the kids. If you have kids, so have kids.
Right.
100%. Every time I see my aunts, it's like, you're getting married soon, right? Where's the kids?
Because it's almost like, as an immigrant, it's like the part of your life is the family project of what you guys are all doing together.
You do kind of feel obligated to contribute back to the family.
I definitely know some people who got married and had kids, maybe even earlier than they would have had themselves, due to a lot of things around them. But, you know, those things around them brought them a lot of love and fulfillment too. Somebody said, you know, a lot of my American parents wanted to kick the kids out of the house to become empty nesters, but my Asian parents didn't even want me to move out.
I went to college, finished up college, wanted to start my own life. You know what my dad said? Fuck that. Come to the gas station. I need you to work at the gas station because the family needs you. And what did I do? I went to the family gas station. Worked there for 3-4 years. Handled everything. It is what it is. My parents, even now, I live on my own. My brother lives with me. My dad just bought a new donut shop, and he wants to get a house closer to us for all of us to live together. And I'm just like, we don't want to live with you, Dad. Like, I don't know why you want to buy a house for us to live with together. He's like, yeah, well, I can save on rent, so you guys don't have to pay rent, and then we can all live together, and then, you know, we can cook food, and everybody has food, and all this. I love him. I understand his thought process, but as Americanized as we are now, I would never want to live with my dad again, especially because he lives with the Sancha, and tell the truth, I can't stand her. Like, after my mom passed, I cannot stand looking at the Sancha. So just, yeah.
Somebody said, I really like how Asians know how to use chopsticks good. It feels like a little unique skill that we all have.
Yo, when it comes to the minute movements and kind of the hand-eye, you know, finger coordination, Asians are really good, man.
The food calligraphy.
Not only do a lot of us grow up using chopsticks properly, but a lot of us, you know, maybe not me, but a lot of Asians learn how to write Asian characters, whether it's Japanese, Korean, or Chinese.
Not me. I was horrible at it. My mom was like, rest in peace. I don't really want to talk ill about her, but she was quite abusive when it came to like writing. Every time I like missed, when we were in elementary school and they had like those dotted lines for the letters and stuff, if I did not follow those dotted lines properly, she would smack the shit out of my hands, like constantly. And I actually never got good at it. Like a big contentious thing that I remember when I was a kid was 8s. I couldn't make an 8 with the infinity sign. I had to make 2 zeros, like, you know, one on top of each other. And my mom was so upset about that. She was like, no, that's not how you make an 8. Bam! And I constantly had to try to do the infinity sign, and I couldn't do it for probably months. So, yeah, I never got good at calligraphy or anything like that type of stuff, but I do know how to use chopsticks really well.
And there's a lot of strokes in that.
And by the way, we know that not all Asians use chopsticks, by the way, but I would say that an Asian, even of a country that doesn't traditionally use chopsticks, still more likely to know how to use chopsticks than a full Western person.
Dude, I think chopsticks might have been the first robotics or some of the earlier robotics.
Somebody said, I really like the artistic sensibilities of design and aesthetics from Asia. This person said, I'm Japanese, by the way. I do think it's easier if you're Japanese because Japanese aesthetics are like globally renowned as fire.
Right.
But actually, all Asian aesthetics, north to south, are dope to me.
Dude, you know what I think is really cool when you see those like smaller like minority groups, and you see some of their designs and some of their clothing, like the
From like Cham, you might see like a Cham
I
pattern.
forgot the name. Yeah, they're like, you know, in the
I love the Cambodian designs. I love the Cambodian temples, the bayans, how they're designed. I plan on getting a tattoo of most of the Cambodian temples / designs onto my shoulder.
tribes, and they're really cool looking too.
For sure, for sure. Every East Asian country or Asian country in general sort of has a different look. Like I noticed like Thailand and Vietnam, they use a lot of bamboo. Korea uses a lot of minimalistic granite.
We use a lot of
Japan's
granite.
got its own like with the paper doors. Chinese stuff tends to be more ancient. Somebody said, I really enjoy the collective family unit struggle of trying to find a new home and a new culture. It gives me a sense of purpose in my life that maybe some of my other American friends do not have.
Wow.
That is true.
Message.
That
this
is
is a
true.
deep one because it is true. I think this applies for all immigrant kids, but
Yeah.
oftentimes, obviously,
Not just
a lot
Asians.
of Asians are immigrant
Immigrant
kids,
kids for this
and that they find purpose even through their family. Like whether or not you're religious or not, you have a purpose in life. You're like, yo, I got somebody I have to report to. It might not be God, but it's this larger thing.
Yeah,
that,
sometimes it's the parents, it's the grandparents.
Yeah.
Depending on how like old school you are, it could even be your ancestors.
I don't want to fail them.
Right.
That's one big thing that Asians have. Ancestors. Asians are very big into ancestors, right? And I think the American culture has lost. They mourn the dead, but they don't celebrate the ancestors. Where I just recently did Day of the Dead for Cambodians with my dad, and we get a whole roasted pig and we do a whole ceremony for all of the people that's passed, and we summon them. We summon them by name. I summoned my mom. I personally only summoned my mom because that's the only person that has passed in my family while I was alive. You know, so I don't know all those other names so well, but my dad will start naming off all the ancestors that, you know, we're supposed to name off that are part of our family, to summon them to come eat the food that we are presenting to them. And then how it works is they come and eat the soul of the food and leave the shell for us for good luck. And we eat, you know, afterwards we chop up everything and eat all that stuff. And we're technically just eating the shell of the food, and, you know, it's made for good luck. So that's big in my culture. And I don't see anything very similar to that in American culture or any very many other cultures other than Asian type cultures. And it really puts you in a different mindset, right? Because when you think about it, at least in my thought process, it's, if ancestors are coming in, they're seeing everything, right? So you always want to be on your best. You always want to do better. You're asking your ancestors to, you know, for good fortune, for good luck, and things like that. So you're constantly trying to imagine, or trying to, like, it's like prayers almost, or putting it out in the universe. Oh, please bring me good luck. I wish to do well this year in business and things like that. So I don't know. It's a bit of a religious thing / saying what you want and putting it out there, like the law of attraction thing. That's what I feel like it is. But without it being the law of attraction, it's its own thing. It was built in the culture to produce the law of attraction. I think that's awesome.
What do you think about that, though? I do think there's pros and cons of that, too, because in a way, it's like, what if you have a really niche interest that your family's not into? But then at the same time, so that could hold you back. But then at the same time,
Yeah, that'd be like my family. My family's big into donuts. You know, we all have a lot of big donuts. We all have donut shops. I don't like donut shops too much, so I do my own thing. They're still supportive of it, though. That's the great thing about my particular family.
it's really dope because it's probably prevents the worst downside cases of not having support, which is maybe addictions or homelessness.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
it's definitely not the most freeing thing, guys. I think freeing is
Oh, one of my friends mentioned to me recently, he was like, you know what? You actually don't see too many homeless Asians. And I hardly ever see homeless Asians. And I was just like, because you're not in the concentrated areas of Asian. Remember, there's always a top and a bottom of each tier of each group. It's just that when you go to certain areas, it's so small of a group there that you can't tell. But if you go to a major area like Garden Grove or a major Asian area where there's a lot of Asian and it's a huge Asian community, you will see homeless Asians there. You just won't see them other places because the concentration isn't high enough to have the lowest end of Asians be there. Does that make sense to people?
Is not a word I would use to describe a traditional Asian upbringing.
Yeah. Somebody said Asians are sexy and we all know it. That's what I love. And yeah, absolutely. I think
You
they're
know what? Nowadays, I can agree with this just because a lot of women are liking the Asian features. There's Asian features are being sought after now by women. So I guess I agree with this.
more sexy Asians than people know about. I think the ratio is higher than people give credit for. But also, I don't know, maybe sexy is not the first thing I think of.
No, it is
Always.
Yeah, I think
When I think of Asian women, yeah, not Asian men though.
global sexiness is more defined by the West or maybe like Latin America, perhaps. And I would say that if you enjoy the Asian features, then obviously there are a lot of sexy Asians nowadays.
Damn right.
I think Asians know now how to be sexier.
You know what I think is really important about the internet is it let Asian Americans know what was available in Asia. You can find the sexy people in Asia because I think previously, even like 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people only knew, even as an Asian American, of course, non-Asians, they only know what they've been exposed to. But even Asian Americans, they might think, oh, we're just this thing. But when you go back to Asia, Asians are everything. They're the goody two-shoes. They're the gangsters. They're the AV stars, everything.
Yeah. For some reason, on my Explore page on IG, there's a lot of sexy Asians. I don't know why.
Who knows
Somebody said, I really
why?
like being able to connect with AAPI peers and just have some dope commonality off the bat. I guess in America, they're saying it's cool to, like, obviously in a country that's not very Asian, which is Asians only make up 6% of America, like there's commonality off the rip as a shared minority group.
Yeah, I think Asian Americans are a lot more down to talk about Asian culture with each other upon meeting each other. I think in years past, if you met the only other Asian at work, they'd be like, oh, why are you talking to me about
It could
this?
even be potentially competitive or contentious, right?
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit, it's definitely a lot more open. People are more down.
Somebody said we have really nice skin and nice hair.
I mean, it depends on what you like about nice hair. I mean, it is very straight, jet black. I will tell you this, after cutting a lot of Asian hair, right, you can get splinters because it's sharp. When you cut like straight hair at a certain angle, it can literally stick in your skin. Also, because I have soft skin. Wow. So what do you know?
Ooh, wow.
Straight black hair into my soft Asian skin, I'm getting splinters.
Yeah, I would definitely say in the mainstream media, when people think of describing an Asian, they're going to think of the eyes first and then like maybe a slight or some sort of yellowish hue to the skin, but they're not going to be thinking about the soft skin and the jet black hair.
Nope.
Somebody said the good work ethics. Yeah. I mean, I just think
I just think the
Not all
idea
Asians,
of work
but
is just
most
so
Asians.
ingrained in Asians, man. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's only formal,
Correct,
like
it's not just
schoolwork
formal.
or studying. It doesn't have to do with necessarily schooling as much as I think at a baseline, all Asians just want to work.
for sure.
My father, when he first came to this country, worked crazy hours. He still works crazy hours now. He doesn't have to, but he wants to. That's the weird thing about it. Like my dad's almost 60 now, and he still bakes every night, and he's 7 days a week, and he still runs the shop. And I'm just like, why? Why did you even buy this shop? In my opinion, but I understood why he bought it. It was more for my siblings than anything. So.
Somebody said, I really like the emphasis on education and prosperity. I personally grew up in a lower middle class neighborhood, and a lot of other people in my neighborhood never broke out of that cycle of this or that, brokenness or this or that. But me and my Asian peers were able to lift ourselves, go somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, even if you think about like a lot of Asian kind of festivals or celebrations, a lot of it has to do with prosperity and like success. And
Correct.
Like, I mean, I
For
think
sure.
maybe even Chinese culture
definitely
even focused
good luck.
most on it, but I do think other Asian cultures, it's also.
Oh, it's a huge deal.
I mean, I think if you look at our dad's life growing up, I think he had a corporate job, but it was like 9.
I learned something recently. It's like luck. Thinking that you're lucky or viewing yourself as lucky is actually a good thing. And you lose nothing from it. from assuming that you're a lucky person. Anything that happens to you, you just assume it's good luck. You just assume that, oh, everything worked out right for me. And it actually brings in more good luck in a sense because you're in that mindset to receive it. And as long as you're preparing and you're constantly growing and doing things, more good luck will happen because all luck is just preparation meets, opportunity. That's all it is. It's just when those two align with each other at the perfect time, that's what luck is.
To 7, like putting in like 55 a week, it really is nothing to him. Like if you got to do it, he's not even going to blink an eye at it. And I think that if you look at Asia, Andrew, sometimes the jobs are 9 to 9. It's like a 12-hour shift even.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess there's not much to complain about relative when here. But it also depends on how much you assimilate. Somebody said, "I'm proud that we're so different from the Western world, but we still got nice things that we developed independently, and we want to show them to the world."
Yeah, and I think that this is actually an interesting point that a lot of Asians can be proud about because, like, I think that there is a sense, like, for example, America, right? Oh, like, how does America build? They built it on the backs of Native Americans, Black people, like, even a lot of Asian immigrants, like, taking advantage of basically a lot of the immigrants that came through America. However, Asia got built up not necessarily because of that. I do think Asia benefited from the West, though, by trading with the West.
For sure.
Let's be clear. But no, as far as all that other, like the work that was put into it, it was for the most part homegrown.
I think for me, one thing that I'm not as invested in is like maybe some of the Western rivalries. Like I find, and I'm not saying 100%, but like Western people, sometimes they're so locked into Western rivalries, whether it's like maybe Abrahamic religions, like Christian versus Muslim versus.
It's not even that. It's you talk about sports. Like, people are rivalry on sports. People will kill each other for their team losing and riots for their team winning. Especially in LA. When the Lakers won, there was a riot. Like, that didn't make sense. Like, this rivalry in everything. There's everything. Men and women. Sports. Freaking tall people versus short people, fucking white people versus black people. It's like Christians versus Judaism. It's like so much freaking hate towards each other and so much conflict in the U.S. For a melting pot that accepts everyone seems to hate each other.
Judaism. Whereas like as an Asian, I'm like, man, I don't ever know. I'm not saying we didn't have wars, but I don't think we had any religious wars in Asia.
We don't care.
So I'm not really like, man, I hope everybody can work it out, but it's true that I also feel kind of separate from this. Somebody said, end on a light one, Asian food is the best. Asian food is super diverse, but of course there are some things, sesame, soy, fish sauce, even dashi from Japan comes from tuna, nuoc mam from Vietnam comes from anchovies, but like the baos, the noodles, there's certain ingredients that sort of bond Asia together.
Correct.
Fried rices, different types of fried rices.
Dude, I love fried rice. I've had 12 different regions of fried rice. They're all damn good.
Just the culinary culture in Asia, it doesn't matter who you talk to. So many world-renowned chefs, they always look at Asia and are like, oh, the culinary, the cuisine art behind it is so advanced and well developed, and they use all these different types of
Australian
like, there's frying, there's steaming, there's sautéing or wok frying, right? There's boiling, there's all these hot pot, there's grilling, there's all these different ways of cooking stuff in Asia. It's really crazy.
Andrew, just a few more. Parents will always pay for education. I could see this. I mean, this is good, right?
If the parents have the means. Yes, they will.
I mean, not all Asian parents do. I think if they have the means,
there you go,
they probably will, though. That's the key. And that, like, I think a lot of Asian parents are never like, oh, we have the money, but nah, I'm going to make you pay for school. Yeah,
right, because I want to go on a cruise or something like that. I would say that one thing you should do, and this is just a side recommendation, I think Asian kids owe it to their parents to major in something smart, but they can go do whatever they want. Like, major in something hard to show that you spent your time not just, playing video games and drinking or whatever. Somebody said Asian languages look really cool, like calligraphy. Yeah, I would say that a lot of Asian languages.
Why do so many people want them as tattoos, huh?
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about Chinese or you know what I mean? Chinese, Korean, Japanese. I'm talking about Thai looks really dope. Burmese.
Crazy.
Really cool looking. Somebody said, I really like how Japanese cars or Korean cars or just Asian cars in general made them cheaper, more reliable, and have more features for the same price than Western cars.
100%.
Yeah, the type of cars that Asians make are very symbolic of the type of people that Asians are.
Asians deliver good value, man. Somebody said, I like
Value, compact, and not overpriced.
how Asians have generally pretty high financial literacy.
Oh, and reliable.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I would say that definitely like some Asians, you know, it depends on like what your parents did. They could be like really heavy on the saving.
Yeah, there's two sides to this. Well, at least in my culture in Cambodia, I just talked about this last time, how my friend was like, oh, there's two types of us. There's the business, which is your family, and then there's us, the normal people. And I was just like, oh, yeah, you're right. Because the normal people did not learn the financial literacy that my family learned through business. And we did not share that with the lower class, I guess. I don't want to say it that way. It sounds horrible. But like to just the less fortunate. So the less fortunate did not understand how money worked compared to how my family understood how money worked. And even then, I look at my family now, they also didn't understand how money worked, because when you look at them and compare them to like American, legacies, we knew nothing. They made their money work for them, where us, we just worked hard for our money and saved.
But I'm not saying that's the best plan, because sometimes you got to focus on making more money too. But it's not a bad plan.
It's not.
Yeah. I think Asians value that.
Last but not least, Andrew, this is kind of a deep one. Somebody said, I really like being from a culture that is not very verbal centric. It's really that actions speak louder than words. Whereas in the West, I feel like maybe some people have lost sight of that.
That's an interesting point. I would have maybe never said this.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wish Asians were more communicative, but I can see the pros of it just being like, just show me the work.
Yeah.
Do not tell me, son, what you want to do with your life. Just go and do it.
I think because Asia, and some people are gonna be blah, 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 it's less feeling based. I can't just do something wrong to you and then make you feel different about what I did. Because you're just gonna the reaction's right, gonna be based off the action, not based potentially around the spin that I'm putting on it.
Oh no, he's 100% right. When I do something bad, it doesn't matter if I fix it or whatever it is. That thing that happened that was bad, it's been ingrained in my parents' mind and everybody's mind that I fucked up. It doesn't matter how well I fixed it or I did better fixing it or whatever it is. The initial fuck up already happened. So from that point on, I fucked up. That's how my parents view things. That was some good chow, Nice. It's nice to learn about other culture, especially Asians, just because we're passport bros. A lot of us do plan on going to Asian countries to, find wives, live, to get a decent life out there, And it's nice if you know the culture and you understand where some of these people come from and kind of their thought process, And just Asian culture in general is actually awesome. I think every culture is awesome. I love black culture. I love white culture. White culture is a little weird. It's a little bit different than most cultures. But, I love Mexican culture. Like my best friend's Mexican. My other best friend is black and white, So I get to experience everything. And they get to experience my Asian culture. Every time we hang out, we always go eat Asian food with me. Just because, we don't have too many friends nowadays, especially ones that are close enough to where we can share these types of things with. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time.